table, which is this financial underscore cleaned. And once I ended the session, close my query window. This is my query window where I write my syntax. Automatically, if I just close my workbench, if I want to open my workbench again, it doesn't exist. So I have to go to the main data set, which is this, and run it, and I'll have this. Now you can see that Montana is still existing here, and we'll check. We are going to check if we have that problem of space in this place. We're going to check if we have that problem of space. So we say select all our columns from financial underscore data set. Then we'll say where product column is Montana. And we had a problem of space in between the entries, the data entry. So I'm going to run. So it's giving me it's not giving me anything, and that's because there's a space in the data set. So I'm going to open my Excel. Oh no, I don't think I'll open my Excel. I'm going to open where my data set is stored, which is somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, so I think this is the financials. This is the CSV. I'm assuming this is it, but I'll just right click and open file, location. Okay, so this is my CSV file. I'll right click, open with Notepad. And once I do that, so in between the product, you can see the product has spaces, right? So which is why it's not returning any results. So once I give space before the M and after A, and I run it, you can see it's going to return Montana for me, which is what the problem we had yesterday. And that's a very serious problem. So we can solve the problem here, or we can take it to a new data set and solve that problem. So I said we can create a view, and you can actually create a temporary table actually. But you can also create a view, and you name the view, then you give the view a name. So we say financial underscore cleaned as, then you now say as, then you now, the view you're actually creating will now be a cleaned version of your data, right? And so it will now be two things. We don't want to see Montana there. That is one. Actually, before I even do that, okay. Yeah. So I think I'm supposed to even remove the trim. I'm supposed to trim this so that I don't need to be entering this type of space every time. So I think I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is to say, because I want to remove spaces in between the individual entries, because there's a space before M, there's a space after A. So I want to remove that. So that will mean me tempering with each of the entries. So for me to do that, I'll say update, and I don't need to mention the table. I'll just say financial. I'll just mention the table name. I don't need to say update table. Then you now say set. I'm setting product. That's the product column. equal to, I now said trim, right? Trim is a function that I use to remove white space. So I'll now say trim product. So everything in the product, trim it. Everything that has white space in this product, trim it down. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to run it. So you can see it's successful now. Now, once I run this select statement where this product is space Montana, then space enter, it's going to give me um, it will not give me any value because I've entered the wrong entry. But once I remove the white space, enter, you can now see. So it means I've corrected it, and we can test it with Passio, which is another product, and see if it works. So now that we are done, so you can see from this particular data, we didn't have profit, we didn't have date and stuff like that. So we need to create, again, we don't want to temper with that data. So we can create a view, and we'll now say select all from financial underscore data set where what? So we can say where product is not equal to Montana. That's one way to go about it. Or we can also say, or we can say where not product equal Montana. Any of this is fine. I'm going to run it. It's saying zero rows affected. Now what I'm then going to do now, I can now use my cleaned data and say select all. I'm no more using the original data on in my financial table data set. I can now say financial underscore cleaned. And okay, so the reason why this is showing error is because I'm supposed to end like this. So now that I've run it, it has given me the same thing. I said we can create the month number, which is what we saw here in our Excel. Sorry, hold on. Let me open my Excel and go to our main table. So I said we can create our profit table, our month number, month name, and year. We can actually do that, right? So I showed us two ways. We can create a pseudo column that will do that, or we can create an actual column. So in order for us to add a new column, we'll say alter table, because we want to play with the structure of the table itself. So alter table, the name of the table, financial underscore cleaned. We will now say add column. And I want to add multiple columns. So the first column we want to add is profit. And we said profit will be float, right? Then we'll say just put null values, comma. We'll say, I think, add column. The name of our column will be month. Let's just say month number, and it will be what? Integer. Then we'll put null. Always then add column. We have month name, It's going to be a variable character, and it will be January, February to December like that. So let's just put 15 characters. Then we'll say null. Then the last one will be add column. That will be year. But because year is a number, but we don't want it to, we really don't want it to be, we actually don't want it to do any kind of calculation. So we'll just say variable character and we'll put 4. The reason why we are putting 4 is that we have, the reason why we are putting 4 is because we have 2000, 2000. So those are 4 characters. And we are done. Then you end it with a semicolon. I'm going to run it. It's saying that financial cleaned is not. Okay. So what happened? What did we do? So it's not base. Oh, so it's not a base table. That's interesting. Oh, so we cannot alter. That's interesting. Oh, so he's saying we can't add because it's not a. I actually didn't. Oh, so we can't actually do anything to this particular table like alter. We can only just create a pseudo table and play with it. That's interesting. Okay, that is fine. So I'm going to drop, let me drop view and financial. I think I'll try, so if I drop it, I can't call it again. So even if I select my query, it will tell me it doesn't exist. So this time around, I'm going to create a temporary table. I think temporary table, and I'll name it financial cleaned. Financial cleaned. I'll just say cleaned data set. Let's just say cleaned. And I'll say select all from our main the table, which is our financial underscore data set table. No error. So I can then say select all from cleaned. Let's see if it works. It did work. So I'm going to use this same syntax to see if it's going to work on a temporary table. Oh, it does work on a temporary table. That's interesting. So the view, so what I'm noticing now is that the view, despite the fact it's a temporary table, is not actually a temporary table in the reality. You are just creating a copy you cannot edit. And why a temporary table is in the reality a pseudo table, but you can actually do every other thing you do on a table. So I'm going to run it again, and you can see it has created my new columns. So like I said, the profit, our profit is a calculated column, is what? Sales minus cost of goods sold. We said that's our profit. So we can then update our table, our cleaned table. We'll set profit to be what? We'll set it to be, I'll just put a bracket, open bracket, go sales minus cost of goods sold, comma. Then our month number. So our month underscore number will be what? I showed you how to extract month number. You just say month, then you put the column you want to extract the month from, which is the date column, because we have our date here, right? So our month underscore name, name will be what? There's a function called month name, and we'll just put the column. And again, just to make the syntax look nice, you can actually drop it down like this. It's not like the add column that you say add column. This, if once you say set, you can do a lot of continuous reference. Then the last one is year, which is what? Year. Then our date column. So it's just going to extract the year from the date column. And I will just run everything. So it's successful. All I just need to do is to run this query for my table, and you can then see our January, of course, is 1st, June is 6th, like that. And we have our table. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we removed Montana from this equation. So what I'm now going to do is to drop our table and repeat the process again, because we wanted to filter Montana out. So I'll say drop, I think it's temporary table, and it will be cleaned, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, so I've dropped it. Now, in order for me to create my temporary table again, I will now say where, because we want to remove Montana, so where product is not, so I can say not product equal Montana. And I'll run my create temporary table again. I will check my temporary table to see it has created. Everything has gone back to what it was before. I will alter, which I've written the code earlier. I'll run again to see if it is working, and I'll run my syntax for update, which I've already done before. And I'm going to view my table again, my temporary table again. And everything looks like it is functional now. So now that everything is looking functional, let me go to the, so let me now, okay, so the other thing we forgot to do is, I think we forgot to convert this to our segment to upper. We can just copy this syntax here, or this query, and put it here, and we'll say set segment, set our segment column to what? To be, there's a function called upper, then segment. So it will just convert everything to uppercasing, every entry to uppercasing if it's a text. I run it again. So you can see my entry here are now upper. I also mentioned United States. I wanted to change United States to USA. So I can do that. So this is to make a comment. And there are two ways you can make comment. You can say there is the multiple comment, and this is the single comment, where you just do this dash dash, and you can only comment on one line. But there's a multiple comment where you say / then asterisk. Where's my asterisk? I always look for this asterisk every time. Okay, / asterisk, then asterisk / and that will be the end of my comment. So you can run multiple comments on as long as it's between this particular tag. So I can say remove, or I'll say change United States of America to USA. And you can see it's still within the comment. And what I'm just going to do is to say set country equal USA, and I will now give a condition. So what will be my condition? Khadija, who can tell me what my condition will be? Hello, everyone. I am assuming you can hear me loud and clearly. Who wants to try? Who wants to embarrass themselves? Who want to embarrass themselves? Oh, try. Nobody's going to beat you.
I'll try. Where country equals United States of America.
Oh, that's nice. Well done. So that's the condition. Where country is equal to. So we are setting country is equal to US, where country is equal to United States of America. So it's allowed for you to use that as a condition. So where country is equal to United States of America, the country everybody wants to go to. So I'll run it. It's successful. I'm just going to copy this, my view table, and run it again. And you can now see my United States has been converted to USA, which is what I wanted. Now I am going to go to I don't know where I set that exams. I can't tell, I've forgotten. But let me use this. I may have remembered somehow. Mind you, I told you we are going to share. There's nothing here. Let me see. I can't remember where I set that particular. I know I did it somewhere, but I cannot remember where.
So is it the assignment that you gave us on this particular data set?
This particular data set that you guys wrote a.
Yes, it's on Google Sheets, like this form like this.
I think it's this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they say, oh yeah, so this is it, right? So we can then start answering questions, because if you notice in the instructions, they said select best, ensure all these. Oh, I didn't put that as instruction that you should remove Montana. Oh boy, that's interesting.
No, it was stated that we should remove Montana.
Maybe it's not this one. For some reason, I created a lot for a lot of people. So I think a lot of people are just difficult to deal with, man. So people were coming up with different excuses. I think that was why I changed. Anyways, it's fine. So I am going to, yep. I'm just trying to divide the screen as much as I can so that you guys can see some of the what we are doing. So they say which month and year had the highest profit. So we have month and year, right? So we had already the month and year. So we can decide to do okay. So let's do the highest profit will be maximum profit. That's what we'll be looking at, or the sum of all the profits. Because I think yeah, so it will be a sum of all the profits. I'm assuming that would be the let me somebody's trying to join. Please mute your device, please. If you are entering, just mute your device. So that will be the first question. So they say where month so highest it will be highest profit will be sum of the profit. So we'll do select all, or we'll just say select sum, then we'll now say profit. Remember, we are doing aggregate, so we'll say from cleaned, right? Let's see what is the sum of the profits. So we have, okay, this is not readable. I don't know, for some reason I like to make this as readable as possible. And I think there's a way you can actually display it in, yeah, I think there's a way you can display it. Okay, so this is about 1 million or 14 million 778,947 in total. Now they say month and year. So now what you are going to do now is actually to do a you will now add, we have a column called month. So if you want to say month name is fine. Month name, right? And we have year. Now, the unfortunate thing with this is if I run it, it's going to give me an error because this is an aggregate function. So if you are putting an aggregate function, you have to do a group by. And because the month and year are columns um in the table, and they are not it's not like they have values inside. So if you don't put an aggregate, if you don't do a group by, it's going to give you an error. So if I highlight this and run it now, you can see my error here. Why? If you look at the error code, it's saying in aggregate query without group by, expression of select list contain non-aggregate column. You understand? So it means that we need to group it by the column that we called. So we'll do group by month name. And so if we do group by month name again alone, it will give us an error because we have an existing column there. It still gave us an error, and we need to also group it by year. Mind you, this sum will just say as we'll give it an alias total underscore profit, and we can run our syntax, and you can see it has given us. Now, how do we know the month and year with the highest profit? So I'm just going to order by this is like a filter, as in ascending or descending order. So I'm going to order by what? I'm going to order by the sum of the total the sum of the profit, which is total underscore profit. Now, ordinarily, if you just do it like this, it's going to order it in ascending order. That is from the smallest to the biggest. That is not what I want. So you can see 410,000, 474,000, 518, like that. So it means that the highest profit is down December 2024, which is 201,000. So what I want is to now put it in descending order. So I'll say DESC, short ish, and how do you call it? An abbreviation for descending. And you can also put ascending ASC if you want to. So I'm going to run it again, and we can now see in descending order. Then if we just we don't want maybe we just want only the first three. What did I say we'll do? We'll put limit at the end. We are going to limit and we'll put a number. So we'll limit by 3, and you see the top 3. So with December 2024 2014 being the highest. I don't know if this is the right answer. Okay, yeah, this is the right answer. So you can see this. Then the country, which country showed the highest gross sales? Now, if we go back to our data set, we have gross sales. Where's our data set? Sorry. Yeah, so these are our data to view our table. Oh, I already have it here. So we have gross sales as a column, right? So they now say which column had the highest gross sales. So the same thing we are going to do, select, we'll say sum of, sum of gross underscore sales from cleaned data set. So we can give this alias as total gross sales, although this is long, and we end it with a semicolon. Just give a space here and we'll run it to see what our gross sales is. Okay, I think there's no column called gross sales. I think it's gross sale. I don't know what I. Okay, let me go back to the data set itself. Oh, gross sold. So I mistakenly used gross sold. And run it. So we have about 11. I want to imagine that it's about 111,381,764. And now we are now going to add country, right? Then we'll now do what? A group by. Mind you, group by cannot come before from. It cannot come before from. It has to be select, from, then where. It has, I think I showed you guys how in the first session how this syntax work. So so it will be grouped by country. Then, but if we want to do like a filter in descending order, we'll say order by total underscore gross underscore sales in what? In descending order. Then now that we know how the descending order works, we want to know which country has the highest gross sales. We'll just limit it to 1 because we already know from here. And Canada seem to have the highest gross sales. Let me see if I click on it. Okay, Canada is the correct answer. So which product had the highest sales revenue? So if we go back to our table, we'll see product, right? And we'll see our sales. These are our sales. So which product has the highest sales. So we are going to do a sum of sales by product. So the same thing we did here. We'll just copy this, paste it, and we'll do sales. This will be sales, small letter. SQL is a bit case sensitive, mind you. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So we'll now do total sales. Yep, and we'll limit by. Okay, they said what's the question? Which product? So we can then limit by 1. So Passio had the highest sales revenue. Okay, and we have Passio here. I guess the rest will be able to deal with that. So they said, in which month did Germany? So in which month did Germany have the highest sales? So now they are saying country and they are giving a condition, Germany, and they are saying month, right? So we can actually copy this country and paste it here. So they are talking about highest sales, so it will be these sales. And the one good thing about SQL is if you've written code, you can actually use them. So I'm going to do this. I'll copy it and paste it here. But so after the from, we will now give our condition where country is equal to what? Germany. Then we are then going to say month. So we'll do month name. And I think it suffices to group by, oh, so I forgot the comma. It suffices to, okay, let me not try, let me not try. I wanted to try something, but I think it's not necessary. So once I highlight and run, and you can see it's saying October. Total sales of how much? 53 $5,340,016. Let me click here, and we have October as the correct response. And basically, you can let's solve this problem. They say which product showed the highest gross sales in April 2024. So they are talking about product and gross sales. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. I am going to they said gross sales. Let me copy gross sales because I've already done gross sales already. So which product had the highest gross sales in April 2024? So we'll say where month underscore name is what? Is April, and year is what? 2024. So because it is variable character, I have to put the 2014 in text format, because remember I used variable character for the year. So which product had the highest gross sales in April 2024? I am going to, okay, so I'll put gross. I'll limit it to 1. So Carretera had the highest gross sales April 20, in April 2014, which is correct. Which one is difficult again? Actually, none of them is. The remaining is something you can do. So for this product with the lowest discount applied, so you are going to do in ascending order. You do in descending order here, in ascending order, and you just limit it to 1. That's what you do. And so basically, this is not so difficult. There is one, however, that I think the SQL part of this particular, I think I'm going to give that as an assignment. So this one is on using Microsoft Excel. I think there's a SQL part of this, which is, it has another data set. Let me see. Oh yeah, pretty interesting stuff. This is really interesting. I think some of the people on this call would know. You guys are familiar with. Do you remember this particular um, assessment? Who remembers this particular assessment? Very interesting assessment. Maybe I'm going to give it as an assignment that you guys can try. Khadija, Jessica, you guys are not saying anything. Can you hear me?
Sir?
You are not saying anything. I said I want to give you this as an assignment, your assessment, official assessment, that you
On
try.
SQL again.
Yes, no.
Okay, sir.
Let me share it with you. Try your luck. Jessica, you're not saying. Where is Jessica? She's not saying anything. She's quiet.
She don't sleep.
She slept. Let me send this here. Okay. Control A, B. This is your assessment. And I wish you the best of luck. Aha. That reminds me. I wanted to teach you I'd like to teach you something pretty interesting. You might find it difficult now or not. Okay, so I would use
Are you still sharing your screen?
yeah, so I'm still sharing my screen. What happened? Can
I'm
any
not
other
seeing the
person see my
screen.
screen? Can any other okay, so Jessica Jessica, you are there? She doesn't want to talk. Uh is it that you are eating or you are just tired? Which one? Okay, I think you are the can any other person see my screen? Oh, okay, you finally decided to talk. Mm-hmm.
So I can hear you. I can see your screen.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
happening? Are you eating or you're just tired?
I'm just tired. I'm not eating.
Go and eat too before you fall down for us here. Okay, so I wanted to teach us something interesting. Um, so maybe you guys, I'll share this same assessment with you to test, or better still, um, I'll send you this other assessment so you guys can test, run your this one that we just finished practicing, and then the other one will be your assessment. So this one is for practice. And this is your SQL assessment. This is to be submitted next week without excuse. I'm going to put a time for it so that um let me see the person that is doing thumbs up for us. Okay. So I wanted to teach us a neat little trick. Um, event driven uh, event driven queries. So say for instance, um, sorry, hold on. I'm using a different screen and NEPA has decided that they wanted to take light. I have to change my screen. Okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, good, cool. So I wanted to show us something on, so I'm going to use this student, the school database. So I'll say use school and run the query, and you can see my school is active. Now I'm going to view my student table as well as my student profile table. I'll just copy this and paste it here. I'll say student profile. I'll run the both query, and it's going to show me two different outputs. So we have that of the student that has the student ID, the age, gender, classroom, seat number. and we have our admission number, which is related, which is a primary key here, but is a foreign key here, which is related to the student profile via the student column, then first name, last name. Now, this is what I want to do. I want a situation anytime I add a new student information, admission number, first name, last name. I want it to automatically create a student. So this particular admission number, it should be added here without me having to go and add it again. Then the rest we can populate it. The seat number, the same thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to drop our, I'm going to drop my table, the student profile table, because it's not correct. I actually played with it. I'm going to drop it. So I've dropped it. Now I'm going to recreate it again, which is, this is my student profile table. Control V. So my student profile should take student as a column, and the foreign key will be student related to the student table admission column. So I would run the syntax again, which is correct. When I go to my view, I have nothing there. If I go to view my table, I have nothing there. I'll just refresh my schema and I can see my student profile. Now, if I right click and import my data, already I have a data for it. Go to next. It's already existing. It's an existing table in my database. Just look at the column. This is my source destination column. This is where I'm picking the data from, which is the CSV file. This is where I'm taking the data to. Everything aligns. I'll click on next. Next, it has imported show logs. You can see data import is successful. Next, you can see 30 records imported and finish. Now, when I view my student profile, you can now see it, right? So I have up to SS2 2024 30. Now, when I look at my student table, I have up to 131. Now, what I want to do is just to delete this entry, and I'm going to re-enter it. So I'll say delete from, I will now call my student name, where admission number is then end. So it will be SS2 24 131. And I'll run it. It's successful. It means that delete that, it has deleted that entry. Now, when I go back to my table, you can see it ends with 130. Now, what I want to do is anytime I add new admission number, my student profile should automatically update with the latest admission number I've added in my student table. In order for me to do that, I would create what they call a trigger. They call it a trigger. You know what a trigger is in Gun. By the time you press your trigger, bullet comes out. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, in order for me to do that, I'll create a trigger that anytime I insert any new information here, this guy should automatically respond. That's the student profile should automatically respond with a new information without me necessarily going to add it. So the syntax, of course, create, and I will call trigger. Now I will give my trigger a name. I can say update student profile. That will be my name. Now I will set sorry. If I remember correctly, I will say insert into my student underscore. Oh, sorry. Hold on. So anytime I insert into my student table, I want my student profile to update. I will now say for each row. So anytime I do any of these, anytime I insert any new information in my student table, for every role I insert, do something for me. I will now say yep. Then I will now ask, okay, what do I want to do in my student profile table? Then I will say begin. And I'm going to end. I will now say, what do I've even forgotten what I'm going to say. Oh, sorry. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. Let me see. What up now? Can you guys see my screen?
No.
Okay, I think my network is messing me up for some reason. Just give me a moment. Okay, so can you guys see my screen now?
No, sir.
What up now?
Okay. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So, um, so I'm creating a trigger anytime I do an entry in my student table. Do something for me. So it's supposed to be oh, where did I even go to? Insert on. Now, not into. Insert on. Now, what do I want to do? So after I've finished doing an entry, right? Then you can update my student profile with a new admission number. So I would say after. So after I've done an entry in my student table, then update my student profile table. Then I will now add, what do I want to do in my student profile table? Begin, whatever. So between begin and end is I'm going to write what I want to do on my student profile table. I'll say insert into student underscore profile. Then I will name the column I want to update. Inside my student underscore profile table, I want to update this student column. So I'll put student. Then I will now say values. What values do I want to update it with? I want to update it with, sorry, hold on. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I want to update it anytime I create an admission number, first name, last name. Create this admission number for me here. Add this admission number in my student column where my student profile is. So it will be this admission number I want to add here. So I'm going to make reference to my admission number. So I'll say, because I've already made reference to my my student column in my student profile table. Now what I want to do is to say student table dot admission number. That is what I want to do. However, there is a particular syntax called new. So it just suffices for me to say new dot admission underscore number. So what I want is to enter a new entry. Anytime there's a new entry in my student table, automatically create a new entry for my student profile. Then I'm just going to end it with a semicolon. Okay. The other thing I also want to do is there's a particular in order for all of these things to run, I need to be able to safeguard it so that they can run at once, one time. So I'm going to say, I'll just type delimiter, then I'll put a dollar sign, a a, 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 a double dollar sign. Then I will end with a dollar sign, then delimiter, then a space, then a semicolon. Oh, sorry, I said delimited. Delimiter, then a semicolon with a space. By the time I run this, let me see. So you can see that it is successful. It has created this trigger. Now, if I refresh my schema, I go to my student. Under triggers, there is a particular under the student table, there is a particular folder, triggers. By the time I click and drop down, you can see I've actually added my trigger, which is update student profile, which is what you can see. I actually created one before. I think I'm supposed to delete it. I created one before. I will drop that one. Let me see if it will drop. Drop trigger, and I'll call the name of my trigger add student to student table. Oh, it runs successfully. Let me see if it dropped. Okay, so it has dropped. Now, when I go to my my student table and run it and see, I don't have any new entry, right? If I run both of them, both the two tables, I don't have any new entry here. So therefore, nothing is created on my student profile yet. Now I'm going to now update my student table and see what's going to happen. I'm going to get an error, and this is by design. I just want to show something. So I'll say update student no, not update. It will be insert into student, my column. So it will be admission number, comma, first name, comma, last name. Now I'm going to enter my values. Sorry. I'm going to get an error, mind you. So I will say my new entry will be SS2-24-131. Then let me enter Khadija. Then the last name will be Sanusi. Now, once I run this, is going to give me an error, but I would show you why. So it's telling me that there is an error. It didn't run well. If I go down here, it will say, it's telling me that field seat number does not have a default value. That's this particular seat number doesn't have a default value, which is the reason why it did not create my student any entry in my student table. But if you notice now, my seat number starts from 1, and you can see it's in serial. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that till 30. Now, in order for me to correct this, I need to alter my table. And I'm going to alter my table, alter table, my student underscore profile table. What do I want to do? I want to modify this seat number column. So modify column, I will say seat underscore number. What I want to do is, it is integer and it is in serial, but I did not do, I didn't, it's also a primary key, because if you go to your, if I come to student profile under indices, you see my primary key, and my primary key is seat number. So I don't need to do anything there. It's integer. So what I want to do is say auto increment. That's what I just want to add. That's it. And okay, so I can enter the data type integer auto increment. I don't need to add primary key again. It's already a primary key. So I'm just going to alter that particular attribute and run. It is successful. Now that I've already done that, I am then going to insert into, I'll run the same command for my student table. I want to insert new entry. In fact, I'm going to insert multiple entry. So I would, I'll add Jessica, our tired friend, SS2-2024-132. Uh, Jessica. Jessica, what's your last name? Again, yeah, that name is hard.
I use Oma.
Sorry?
Oma. 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 OMA.
OMA.
Yeah.
Good. So now I've added 2 entry. In fact, let me even decide to add another entry. Maybe I'm just going to enter my name. SS2-2024 -134. Assuming I made a mistake in my entry. I'm going to run it. It was successful with no error. Now I can view my student with the new entry. So you can see the new entry, right? Khadija Sanusi, Jessica Omar, then my name. Let me go to my student profile and run this. and go down and see if there's any new entry. Can you see that there's new entry? SS2 hyphen hyphen 24 hyphen 131 hyphen 132 and hyphen 134, which is referring to our student table admission number, our student table, right? The admission number in the student table. So it shows that I've done a new entry here. It's just that I've not updated this now with the appropriate information for the age, gender, classroom. But automatically our seat number has been created because I changed my seat number to auto increment. It's integer but auto increment as well. So this is how we actually create. So it has actually saved you time doing another entry. Like by the time you do an entry in student table, it automatically created an entry. In the event you forget, by the time you come and view your student profile, you say, I created a student, added a student to my student table, but I have not added other informations here. So you can now then decide to add other informations. I want to see if I update. So I made a mistake here, right? Instead of me to enter 133, I entered 134. I'm curious to see if I update this to 133, if it's going to work. So I'm going to say update my student table. I want to set admission number underscore number equal SS2 hyphen 24 hyphen 133, where I can say first name is equal to Chico, is equal to Chico, right? Let me see if it's going to automatically update. Oh, so it's saying that it's a foreign key. I cannot do anything about it. That's interesting. So I cannot delete or update a parent row. A foreign key constraint fails. So because it's a foreign key elsewhere, I can't do anything to it. That is interesting. But if I do a new entry, for instance, I would let me add one value. So I'm going to enter somebody I know. By the time I do insert new entry in my student table, I'll go there and view it and see if it has entered. And you can see it has entered, and it even helped me to arrange the admission number. Now if I go to my student profile, run it, go down, oh, so it created it actually created it, but be after 134. The reason is because I already have a primary key here. So now I can then decide to update it and do a lot of things with it. So I just wanted to show you how to use trigger. And there's also what they call event. A trigger will happen every time you do every time you do a new entry here. A trigger is going to happen. That's anytime you add a new entry or you do a data entry into a particular table, it's going to trigger this particular query that you should create a new value or a new entry in another table. However, I don't think if you update it, I think you can also update, but I'm not sure. I wanted to show you that It's pretty cool. You can use it for a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. Um, the maybe in the next class we'll talk about events. I cannot wait to go to. So I wanted us to do aggregation and CTE and Windows function. I think those are like the things I'm actually looking up to, and these are the beginning of the trigger is also a big the beginning of creating advanced SQL functions or SQL query. So trigger events. So these are like advanced SQL. So again, the trigger and the event are meant to, you know, reduce your workload, especially if you are dealing with um, multiple data entry up across multiple tables, and you have one table linking to the other, and you don't want to repeat yourself every time. Anytime you do one new entry, you'll be forced to do another new entry elsewhere again. So this usually will help you a lot. So in the next class, hopefully we'll talk about common table expressions and window function. They are pretty interesting topics or concepts. We might do more of aggregation again, like complex aggregation, but I think we should cover this CT and Windows function. This will actually bring the SQL session to an end, actually. So, do you guys have any questions before we go? You're feeling headache already, right? Ask your question. Ask your question. Your hands are up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, I'm sorry. My network was fluctuating. I didn't hear when you explained that delimiter. I don't know its function. I don't know if you can just help me with
So
that. Thank
the delimiter is to make sure that all what I've written here works at the same time without cutting corners. So it might so this create trigger is a particular is one query up to this particular place is one query. This insert into is another query. So delimiter will make sure that by the time I highlight everything, it will run one at a time. Watch what happens if I select these two. These are two queries, right? I run it. Even if I run it using execute selected portion of the script or everything, it's going to run it twice. One, two, and displaying two different results for me, right? Uh, so look at the action, the action output. It ran it twice. So select all the columns from table from student table. It now run select all the columns from student profile. But let me go up a little to see the action output. Look at when I created that trigger. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. Look at when I created this trigger. It only ran one time. It just ran once. But this create trigger is one query. Insert into is another query. There are two different queries, but it ran once. Unlike where I did not add this delimiter, which is these two queries. By the time I run it, it's running. It will run the first one, then run the second one. Is the reason why we add the delimiter. With the dollar sign, I think some people will do forward slash. I'm sorry. and I think it still works. But you can add the dollar sign as well. Does that answer the
Thank you.
question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, Jessica, Khadija, do you have any question? Um, Muminat Yusuf and your name is Hadu Tega Sawyer. How are you? Do you have
Yes,
any
take care.
questions?
No, I don't.
Oh, you are a lady. That's interesting. I used to think you are a guy. Okay. Jessica, do you have any question? Headache is worrying you, ba? Eh, I've been stressing Jessica since
No,
yesterday.
I don't have any question.
Ah, Jessica sounds really tired. Khadija, what of you? Any questions?
No, sir.
Are you sure? Um, Muminat Yusuf, do you have any questions?
No question, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyways, I invited you guys just so you can join. It's not for, I don't know if you're going to learn anything, but just to see, you can refer to the YouTube. There are a lot of playlists on that YouTube video if you guys want to really learn SQL. And I think for even this particular session, there's like a playlist from the beginning. If you are following it, I believe for those that I think yesterday when we are doing our project review, a lot of people were saying they're just beginners. So thank God I am actually